Well, I would love to sit here and say, I told you so. I told you so when it comes to what happened with Henry Cavill and Warner Brothers back a couple years ago when everything went down with Black Adam, then James Gunn coming in and Henry Cavill announcing he's back, then Henry Cavill not being there. I wish I could sit here and tell you I told you so because, you know what? I told you so. I told you so. But here's the thing. It's almost like everything I said happened to Cavill turned out to be true. You see, over on The Wrap this week, they revealed a whole bunch of different things about Dwayne Johnson. And there's kind of this weird attack going on with Dwayne Johnson. But we're not going to get into that. What we're going to get into is what transpired and what happened with Dwayne Johnson, Warner Brothers, Henry Cavill, and then eventually what happened with James Gunn. You see, I wrote an article a number of months ago, and basically it asked, it says how Henry Cavill was played by all the producers and everybody involved of Black Adam prior to Black Adam's release. Because, let's face it, Henry Cavill, for years, was trying to negotiate a new deal. It wasn't happening. But then all of a sudden, it transpired. It happened. Well, Dwayne Johnson was the reason for that. Dwayne Johnson and his partner, Hiram Garcia, who is his ex-wife's brother, who runs their production studio, $7 Production, went to Zaslav and was like, look, we want to bring Henry Cavill in here. We want to do this. We want to do that. And it was sort of like, hey, you do this, it's got to be successful. It's that simple. Well, Dwayne Johnson wanted to take control of DC. That's what he wanted. The idea was, and this is coming from The Wrap, the plan was to have Hiram Garcia be the face and head of DC while $7 Production would be the production house behind him in the films. It's sort of like how J.J. Abrams got his Bad Robot deal with Warner Brothers. This would have just been for DC with $7 Production. And if you think about it, Dwayne Johnson hearing the fans screaming, we want Henry Cavill, he goes and brings in Henry Cavill. Not just for Black Adam, but they filmed this, a scene for The Flash and for Shazam. They were going to do this thing. They were going to bring him in. And Henry Cavill, they had plans. Henry Cavill announced that he was back. But the problem is, Dwayne Johnson, Hiram Garcia, $7 Production, they did not have control. They did not have a deal in place to run DC Studios moving forward. Henry Cavill, and I still believe this, and I don't know if it's true, but Henry Cavill left The Witcher partially for the Superman role being back. Witcher would have taken a lot of time. And I know that there was behind-the-scenes stuff going on there as well, but let's face it, he probably wanted the Superman more. Now, we take a look at what transpired. Black Adam didn't do well. It was a financial bomb, essentially, in the box office. People didn't respond to it. People were upset that Henry Cavill came and wasn't Zack Snyder's Henry Cavill. So when Zaslav sat back and took a look, and he said, look, guys, you don't have it either. DC needs to be big. DC needs to be our main IP. It should be making us hundreds of millions of dollars. And the movie that you made, you promised bringing Henry Cavill back would do this. It's not happening. So he went another direction with James Gunn. Essentially, Cavill's played. And so much so that Cavill, after all is said and done, goes and fires his management team after the entire ordeal. It's apparent now that he was played by Dwayne Johnson and his team in their attempt to take control of DC. Promises were made that were never able to be fulfilled, and Cavill's team let him walk right into it. And, don't forget that his management team is The Rock's ex-wife, Dani Garcia, who is also part of $7 Productions. So the more you sit there, the more you start to see Henry Cavill wasn't screwed over by James Gunn. James Gunn was hired to do a job, and his job was to create a new DC universe. He was screwed over by Dwayne Johnson, $7 Production, Hiram Garcia, Dani Garcia, and yeah, maybe a little bit of David Zaslav. But here's the thing. James Gunn didn't tell Henry Cavill to announce he was back. That was Dwayne Johnson. That was Hiram Garcia. That was Abdi and DeLuca. That was all the production and producers at that time that were saying, hey, you're back, man. Let's really push this thing so we can really bump up the box office for Black Adam, get people excited. And it just didn't work. Just didn't work. And it's unfortunate because I love Henry Cavill as Superman, but it's unfortunate. And this just shows that, things aren't always what they seem at first. You have to step back. Don't allow your emotion to run wild and you just make accusations. When you step back and you take a look at the full picture, you start to realize, you know what? Maybe it isn't James Gunn. Maybe it was something else. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want to know what you think about this whole thing. It's very, very interesting. But with all that said, I'll catch you all